everybody in YouTube land. I told you I'd be back. The last video we were talking about loneliness and chronic illness. And in this particular video, we're going to talk about specific illnesses that are chronic, but that have a special feature to them. And they're what we call the invisible illnesses. Invisible illnesses can come in many colors. For one, we could talk about mental illnesses. For instance, I myself suffer from chronic illness. Okay, so if you look at me and you see me, you're thinking, well, there looks like a little bit of a tired older woman. But she doesn't look very sick. And look at her, she's kind of wandering around doing her groceries and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. But she says that she's got a chronic illness. So the first thought that comes into most people's heads to me when they speak to me is, oh, she's bipolar, or oh, she has depression and anxiety, or she's crazy. Well, I can understand that from the layperson point of view. However, as a nurse and someone that suffers from an invisible illness, that this invisible illness is one that not many people would think about because it's what they call an autoimmune illness, which means that our immune systems have been so revved up that they actually have gotten to a point to where they are beginning to actually start to burn out our neurological system, feeding our nerves, to where we can be at the grocery store talking to you and our hands can be such pain we can hardly touch anything. We can hardly move our toes. It's very difficult to walk sometimes. We can have what they call brain fog, which makes us kind of confused and we forget what we said. And that's related to the nerve endings that are dying in our brain, which creates inflammation of the brain. Now, enough of all that. But can you see how people can get confused? That certainly does not help with loneliness. Instead, what that helps with is what they call social isolation. Because, as again, it's like, you gotta be kidding me. You're faking. And I don't really want to come up with, no, I'm really not. I have to go because I hurt so bad I can't stand here any longer, which I never say anymore. It doesn't go over well. Or, I can't go hang out with you like I said I would last week when I was feeling good and getting good sleep because I'm flared up and I hurt so bad that I can't hardly sleep and I can't really do much but get my groceries, because in my particular case, I don't really have a very good support system. Because, as said before in the earlier video, for some reason, when people get sick or they become disabled, they're labeled, I suppose, as crazy, or you're faking it, and are forgotten, pretty much. Yeah. Well, and also, too, we're not dependable because, again, I mean, I'd love to go hang out with you, like I said last week, but if I'm so sick, I can't get off the couch, I can't go do what we were going to go do. So it makes me, or people that have invisible illnesses like I do, not very dependable. So it sucks. I mean, there's nothing else to say about it. And I'm going to go through some of the names of the illnesses that have that component to them. Another component they have to them is what we have is a flare, where I've done too much and I haven't slept, and so I've got a lot of burning in my hands, or I can't think straight, or I'm in extreme pain. Or we've got the week or two where I've gotten really great rest, I've eaten really great foods, I've actually had company and I'm cheered up, and I'm not hurting as bad. So it's called flare ups and then remissions. And those particular disease processes are fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, they usually kind of go together, the Epstein-Barr virus, Lyme's disease, multiple sclerosis, gets so bad you can't even walk, you're in a wheelchair, as well as lupus. Lupus, you can tell people have because they are forced in the medical community to take high doses of steroids to decrease the inflammation in their body because they too are having problems with an overabundance of a substance that has gone awry. So there lies the pathophysiology, meaning the illness part of the body. So, getting back to the isolation, which leads to the loneliness, you can see why that occurs. For one, I know for me that when I'm in pain, and most people when they're in pain and they're tired, they can be grumpy, they can not want to talk, they can be just trying to get sleep because they're exhausted, and just plain not fun. And I don't want these to be Debbie Downer videos at all. What I want to do is I want to, first of all, put a handout of compassion to every last one of us that are suffering from what we call these invisible illnesses of the immune system because we're so highly misunderstood. And also, whomever's watching this as a husband, as a wife, mother, daughter, sister, brother, friend, whatever, to raise awareness that what makes people that have these particular illnesses not have the flare ups to where they can't get off the couch and they hurt so bad that they can't stand it is when you actually take the time to really be interested in what's going on with them, perhaps come over for a visit, perhaps, be their friend, call, not text, because as you can see, texting could be kind of hard or emailing can be kind of hard if your hands are on fire. Just saying. And and so yeah, it takes a lot of patience, and I guess for me being a nurse and being paid for so many years to be compassionate and kind of looking, you know, past the disease to the person, I mean, we really enjoy company. And it also helps us to feel better. So we are able to go with you on that hike or whatever we'd planned a week ago. Um, I just really want to encourage folks, whether you have a invisible illness or whether or not you have a chronic illness that you can see, as well as everybody else that could be listening to this that doesn't have one, to take that extra little bit of patience and time with almost anybody. I can promise you that you meet at the grocery store or you meet out of your home and you're in a hurry and all of a sudden you're in a conversation with a stranger and they're talking and they're talking and you got to go. You've got to go. You've got to drive over and check your mail. Yeah, very important, your mail. Or you've got to get to the paper bear down the road where they're selling sage because you just have to. You don't have time to talk, okay? Because just not even for us, it'll make us better. But what I get more concerned with is the elderly population. I mean, I notice now because of the fact that I have the loneliness issue and I talk too much. I notice a lot of the elderly people have it as well, and they'll talk for even longer. And I will make myself stay there for 5 or 10 more minutes longer and listen. Unless, of course, I have something very pressing, like getting back to work on time or something like that. Because I know for me, I can go for a week sometimes longer, without seeing a human face, much less talking to a human voice. So if that's me, and you look at someone that's maybe in their 80s, you may be the only person that they have talked to in a month. I am here to tell you that if you take that 5 or 10 extra minutes and you talk to that person, if you possibly can, you will make their day and perhaps even prevent someone like me with an invisible illness from getting a flare, so that I can actually drive, I can go for a coffee, I can get off the couch and exercise. Just that 5 or 10 minutes of extra time to just listen. Because, yeah, we are talking a lot. But again, you would talk a lot too if you hadn't seen anybody for a month. And in an elderly person's case, spoken to anyone in a month either. I feel like what we're called is the forgotten people, or the people that have slipped through the cracks. Some of us have been very blessed, elderly, chronic illnesses, whatever, with long term marriages, good partnerships that they're in that are not marriages, a good family support system, long term friends that stuck by you. But some of us, like myself, I don't have a mother and father anymore because they passed away. And my so called friends, when I got this illness, decided to tell me I was faking. And so now they're all gone away. And basically, I don't have a huge support system. So I'm just here to tell you that you guys out there, even those of us that are ill, we owe it to our community and to our elders to give them 5 minutes of our precious time if we do not have a 911 emergency, have to get back to work, or something that makes sense. But courtesy and kindness and tactfulness, even in those situations, can still help that person go home and have a much better month in some people's cases. So that's what I have to say concerning social isolation along with invisible illnesses. Until next time, have a good day. And take a couple of minutes off. Because you know what? You may still have that disease called "it can never happen to me." Because I could tell you right now that every one of us that have a chronic illness did not pencil that into our day timer. I'm going to be chronically ill for the rest of my life, and everything I work for is going to be gone, and I will have no friends and bug people because I talk too much. That was not penciled into my day timer in August 20th of 2005 at all. Thank you for being compassionate, and thank you for being friends. May our planet and our communities grow stronger.